Everybody wants to be an influencer. Private jets, expensive vacations, high-rise penthouses, the best cars, the best designer everything, lucrative brand deals. But what if I told you that a lot of your favorite content creators are actually broke? Not humble beginnings broke, not building the dream broke. I'm talking about drowning in credit card debt, one paycheck away from being homeless broke.
Did y'all see that video of that girl asking how all the OG influencers were making $30,000 to $50,000 a month and now they're broke?
I'll tell you exactly what happened because I have seen it over and over again. They thought the money would continue to come in like that forever, so they spent it like it was guaranteed.
A lot of these influencers are renting their lifestyle for content, and that's because social media sells the image of wealth, not the reality of it. So we're going to be breaking it down today on the podcast. So let's go.
Love me or hate me, God knows you made it. When he let his eyes on me.
I'm not a millionaire anymore, but I sure feel rich.
So a lot of your favorite content creators are coming online and they are sharing that they are broke. B-R-O-K-E, forced to go back to their old jobs, forced to do 9-to-5s, forced to sell off a lot of their things, get out of their apartments. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the ThisBahamianGyal podcast. My name is Gyal. On my platform, I do social commentary and reaction videos. I encourage my audience, that's you, to have private conversations in public. I want to say a huge welcome to all of my podcast listeners, not the ones here on YouTube or who are going to be watching on Rumble. Thank you to those of you on Rumble as well, but those who are actually listening to the audio podcast. You know, I am always in these YouTube social media streets. I always tell y'all, I love being clued into what's going on, just kind of taking the temperature of what's happening. And I've seen a lot of people who were once TikTok influencers, YouTube influencers, just on social media, on Instagram, making money, saying that they are giving it up. They're going back to their 9-to-5 because it's just not sustainable in the long term for them. And I certainly understand that. You have to do what you have to do. The reactions from a lot of people are like, ha ha, good for you. You thought you would make it big and then you failed. I'm going to have a separate conversation about that in another video. It's going to be the one after this. So please be sure to tune in for that one. But I want to talk about the influencers who did come on the platform and they weren't entirely truthful about what was going on behind the scenes or what it really took to be an influencer and the costs associated with it. I felt like a lot of them came on their respective platforms and they were just flexing to the highest hill to make people feel like they were like sort of celebrities. And for some of them, they were celebrities, to be honest with you, probably more celebrities than the actual Hollywood celebrities, if we're being honest. But they were not being honest about their finances. Now, let's just take this one step at a time. I'm going to break this down. I'm going to have some reactions as well. I find that a lot of the social media content providers would really flex when it came to like their house, or, they do like this day in the life when they're going to get there. It's like the same script over and over. I'm going to go to Pilates. I'm going to go get my matcha. I'm going to go go shopping at the mall. I'm going to go to this high-end boutique. And it was the same thing over and over again. And it was almost like selling a fantasy to the audience. And to be honest, the audience grabbed it up. They ate it up. They lapped it up because they really do like that. People love feeling like they have a degree of access to an influencer and seeing how they live. And I think sometimes it harbors some jealousy, but hey, that's what they did. Very few of them would say, hey, I'm buying the $6,000 purse and this is what I'm going to have to do in order to get it. These are the hours I'm going to have to work. They never talked really about like how much taxes would take from their money. For those of you who don't know, if you're not in the YouTube world, YouTube does not take taxes from your cut. You're responsible entirely for paying your taxes. So there is a split. I believe YouTube, when it comes to AdSense revenue, they get 45%, and the creator gets 55%, if I'm not mistaken. If it's, I think that's what it is, but if not, I'll put it on the screen. And you're responsible for paying taxes on your own cut. So when you get that lump sum of money, you could get like 10,000, 20,000, 150,000, sometimes more in a month. All that money looks like it's yours, but you owe Uncle Sam. So my point is in bringing this up is that sometimes when people will flex and show you like their AdSense revenue, that's not everything that they're pocketing. At least they're going to owe the government. And I just felt like a lot of content creators just weren't so upfront about like the tax portion or how the split works, or just basically the fact that the money which you think they're earning, they're not really taking home at the end of the day. So I think it's important to point out that AdSense revenue is not profit. I always said on this platform, I know a lot of you who are coming across this video today haven't been watching me for a very long time, but I remember saying in an old video, and if I find it, I'll just kind of like put like the timestamp or something up here, or the card rather. And I said I would reveal my earnings one time on this platform. That's when I wasn't making anything. I mean, like I was probably making like $30-something a month, $80-something a month. And I said, the day I really start making some money, I'm not going to mention it ever again. And I think the majority of the people who are on this platform are not making anywhere near the money of a PewDiePie or Sniper Wolf or Mr. Beast. They're just not making that. So please don't assume that because someone is on YouTube and, whatever, that they're just making a boatload of money. They're not making a ton of money. In most instances. But I wish more YouTubers would be honest so people can know what to expect. And also in being honest, and like I said, nobody's obligated to sharing how much they earn. If you're a YouTuber, and to be honest with you, if I ever got to the point where I was making like 15, 20,000 a month or whatever from YouTube, I don't know that I would share that, just because you kind of make yourself a target. In the words of the late Notorious B.I.G., the cheddar breeds jealousy, and I'm just too private of a person anyway to even want to reveal that stuff. Sometimes content creators feel like, well, I want to be transparent with my audience and I want to share that stuff, but it's just too much of a risk. It's best to just keep that stuff private, honestly, because people, they react a certain way and then they start to judge you as well. So it's best to kind of, I don't care if you're making $5, I don't care if you're making 5 million, it's best to just keep it under wraps, honestly. Because what happened was, when you had a lot of content creators who were very open about like how much they were earning, and they started to like show like they were going shopping and all these different things, there was a lot of judgment for those individuals. Like, oh, how are you buying this? And you're not relatable anymore. So a lot of influencers, they feel the pressure once they reveal how much they're earning to kind of live up to that lifestyle. Like, now I've got to have the baddest car, I've got to have like the baddest house, I have to have all these aspirational things so my audience can remain engaged, so they can know that I am making it. But the money that you get like from social media, it's almost like when you just get drafted to like the NBA or something, you get like a nice little sign-on bonus, and it's like you're young, the money is there, everything is at your disposal, but you always have to kind of keep at the forefront of your mind that this money may not be here tomorrow. And this is why so many YouTubers and other social media content creators fizzle out so quickly, is because they get this money really quickly. They've never had that kind of cash before. And then it's like, they blow it really quickly. So let's take a listen to a few TikToks, and we'll go from there.
Did y'all see that video of that girl asking how all the OG influencers were making $30,000 to $50,000 a month and now they're broke?
I'll tell you exactly what happened because I have seen it over and over again. They thought the money would continue to come in like that forever, so they spent it like it was guaranteed. Like once they started making a lot of money, they figured the rules don't apply to them anymore. But money doesn't care if you were hot on Instagram in 2021. It doesn't care how many followers you have. It only cares about math. Like when I first started making more money in real estate, the very first thing that I did was not upgrade my lifestyle. I said, okay, I have more money coming in right now. What can I do to make this money grow? Because I knew if I upgraded my lifestyle with every pay raise, I would eventually be trapped. I might have nicer things, but I would be trapped continuing to work for them and then continuing to have to fund my life. Whereas now, okay, I'm 35 years old. I'm financially free. I don't have to work for money to support my lifestyle. My investments do that for me. I remember the comments that I would get all the time. They'd be like, Nicole, you can't actually be rich. There's no way you have a $5 million net worth. You drive a Kia. Like, where is your Lambo? And that question alone tells me that you don't understand wealth. Wealth isn't about what you drive. It's whether or not you have to keep working to survive. You can look rich and be broke, or you can look boring and be free. Most people choose the first one because it's louder, but I chose the second one because I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone. I just don't want to work for the rest of my life. That's why so many people look rich for a moment and then quietly disappear.
She absolutely nailed it. She nailed it. I did a video several years ago about how people used to come into the comment section and talk about my clothing and say like, you wore that already, sis. Like, why are you still wearing, like, how many times are you going to wear the same shirt on your platform? How many times are you going to wear the same da da da? How many times are you going to, or someone said the seasons had changed or something, like, can you upgrade like your what do you call these things, like pillows and stuff like that? Like, I was just like, well, first of all, this is my home. I live here. So I upgraded for me. Now, if I want to make a few changes in the back for like, you know, myself, then that's cool, but I'm not doing it for you. I live here, right? And I thank the Lord that I came on this platform as a well-developed woman. My mind was already developed and I didn't have anything to prove to anybody, because if not, I would have been on here like, oh, shoots, I can't wear that shirt again because I already wore that in episode 3. Oh, I can't do this again. No. And this is the trap. And a lot of times people just blame like content creators, but I think the audience, not I think, but I know the audience is partly to blame too, because, and not all of you, but some of you are just really hell-bent on like criticizing a content creator over and over again about how they're dressed, what they're driving, like this young lady said. And it's just, it's insane to me. If you own your car, or you have a car that's more modest and it's paid off, that's better than having to go and get a Lamborghini or some super expensive car that you can't afford just to flex in the moment. And social media money is not, it's you can be fooled into thinking that you are wealthy for life when you're only having this money because you're hot right now. You're hot in the moment. My income goes up and dips, up and and there was a protracted period where it was like up, 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 up. And even when it was up, 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 I still was acting like it was down, 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 down. Because when you come from having no money, like I come from having no money, it's like a fair, you're going to go right back there. So it's like, you better hold off. I don't care what that bank account is saying right now. Hold off, hold off, hold off. Don't upgrade your lifestyle. If anything, I've been trying, for me personally, to downgrade, because it's like, I don't want to spend so much money on things. So, you know, but people get on the platform and they get really, they get cozy with the money that they're earning, and they think it's going to be here forever, and they feel the pressure from the audience. And I always say, if you're feeling so much pressure, you need to step away from the audience. Go live your life offline, because it really will put things in perspective.
I'm gonna tell you a secret. Shh. Most influencers are broke. Many of them are living paycheck to paycheck. They don't know how to manage their money. They don't know how to monetize on their audience. They don't know how to build a real business. Many girls can go online and start dancing with bikinis. Majority of the influencers that you and I both follow are broke. I have been working with influencers for the past 11 years. I have been on the other side, where I hire influencers from thousands of dollars to $50,000 per post from the negotiation process, from the agency that they're with. The girls that I work with, many of them end up resulting to OnlyFans, or they end up having to try to find a man to pay for their lifestyle to upkeep a level of standard, depressed and lonely. They end up having this entitlement just because they have amount of views or of followers or whatever. It means that they should be treated a different way. It means that they have more influence. But actually, to me, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean shit. You can have 1 follower or 10 followers, but if you're not a nice girl, you are not inviting, you are not compassionate, warm, graceful, then who are you really? Just because you have views and followers does not mean you have a big bank account, does not mean you have a fit body, does not mean you care about your health, family, wealth, friends, the real values and the truest things in life. It doesn't mean anything. Just know that they're probably living paycheck to paycheck, or they're broke. Bye.
I don't know. She kind of veered off into something where it felt a bit personal. Like, I felt like, I don't know if you guys ever get this feeling like someone is talking to an audience, but they're really talking to one person in particular, or 2 people in particular. That's what it started to veer off in. So yeah, that felt a bit personal. But I will say to her that yes, a lot of them are living paycheck to paycheck, but that's not just an influencer thing. That's an America thing. A lot of Americans, those of you who aren't even influencers, who aren't in the content creation space, are living paycheck to paycheck. So that really, that applies across the board. But again, you hear this theme about people feeling the need to upgrade their lifestyles. And I've seen it so many times. You know, when content creators reach out to me and ask me things like, oh, you know, I just got monetized, I'm making this amount of money now, and I'm thinking about upgrading. I just kind of like stop them in their tracks. And I say, when I was on this platform, and you don't have to follow me at all, I'm just going to give you my take, right? When I was on this platform, I was on it for a number of years, using an old cell phone. And when I said old cell phone, I ain't even talking about no iPhone or nothing like that. I was an Android girl. So I was like using the most bustedest, yes, I'm going to say bustedest, the most bustedest phone you could, like the kind of phone where like when you sign up for a phone company, they're like, we will throw in this phone for you. And it's like some cheap phone, like $50. That's what I was using. And I was recording and I was just like, okay, this is what I'm going to use because your content is king, right? Your presentation is what matters. Your subject matter is what matters. I wasn't in a rush to go and buy anything, you know, and I just find that even people, once they start making money, there's nothing wrong with like trying to upgrade your equipment and stuff. But sometimes people just go like to the extreme. Like you started off with like some little busted phone camera and now you have to have like a $4,000 camera. That's not necessary. But, you know, people listen or they don't listen. And step aside from the camera and that sort of thing. There are people who will be like, my space isn't that great. Where I live isn't so nice. So I'm thinking about getting a better apartment or a better house, upgrading so that at least when I'm on camera, it looks better. And I'm like, are you going to put yourself in more debt just to look better? What if you upgraded your apartment or your condo or whatever, and you do all of that and the views still don't come? Then you now have a bunch of money you have to pay for this upgraded lifestyle, and you don't have the money coming in from social media to counter that. So have you won or lost? So you make do with what you have. This is my opinion. Make do with what you have. And I've been in places before that weren't so nice. And yes, there was a part of me that was like, boy, I wish I had a better space. But I was like, but this is the space I'm in and I'm comfortable financially. So I'm going to have to find a corner of this room, a corner of my apartment that looks really nice and just record there. So don't be in a rush to upgrade your lifestyle because the money goes up, it goes down, and sometimes it stays down. So you've got to be ready. I want to play this next TikTok from Anton Daniels. He is one of the bigger creators here on this platform, has multiple channels. He does really well. He's shown his AdSense to the audience many times, and he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And listen to what he says, because despite his earnings, he still says at the drop of a dime, he would go back into a regular job. And this is something a lot of people don't want to do, or they look at it as a failure. I don't look at that as a failure. I look at it as you doing what is necessary, because you could be like another content creator who I'll play after him, who just doesn't see the need to do that. And we'll see how that works out. But let's play Anton's comments.
There's a lot of conversation about content creators going broke. There are a lot of content creators that's going broke, but I guess it's a little different for me because when you're raised in the inner city of Detroit and you don't really have anything, you kind of approach it a couple different ways. So for example, I just kind of look at it as points on the board. I don't have no pride when it comes to getting a regular job. People acting like just because they had a little bit of visibility or they was popping on the internet that they can't get a regular job. Like, where they do that at? I'll still work a regular job today. I'll still go and work an overnight shift. It really doesn't matter how much money that I have, because for me, again, it's all points on the board. I don't ever want to go broke, but at the same time, I'm not immune to going back to being a software engineer. I'm not immune to, you know what I'm saying, going to get a regular job. I don't mind DoorDashing and Uber Eats and driving for Uber or Lyft if I have to. So all of this pride and then worrying about what other people think on the internet is weird to me. Because how you gonna worry about people that ain't never been there? At least you got there. So you gotta leave it all on the floor. Do I think that people need to be more financially savvy? Absolutely. When you get it, you're gonna have to get it out of your system. A lot of people in the earlier parts of getting these big checks, when you start to get big checks, and checks are relative, when you start to get this stuff, you're gonna have to get it out of your system. The first year or two, if you're able to survive through that, you just gonna spend it, you're gonna blow it. You're gonna buy all of the things that you never knew you needed and wanted, and then you're gonna start to have a conversation about how you can maintain it. That's when you start to make the investments. And of course, I think that people should make the investments beforehand, before they ever go broke. But to see people reading comments of content creators going broke as though they wouldn't do the same thing, I don't believe you. because everybody say the same thing until they get the money, until they get the visibility. And so the better conversation I think to have is what happens after you get there. How do we create the lessons that allow for people to not make the same mistakes as people that came before us? Thankfully, I went broke earlier in my life before I got all of this visibility, and now I'm used to it. So again, it doesn't mean much to me. I think people put too much stock in it. People go broke every day. You'll get more money.
He said a lot of truth there. I really appreciate that. And I actually do, one of the things I do appreciate about Anton Daniels' show, particularly his Millionaire Morning Show, is that he does talk about finances a lot. I really love that show. There are some folks who have to get it out of their system. That is absolutely correct. And I agree with him partly when he says, like, a lot of people are lying when they say that they wouldn't do the same thing. Because there are people out there who say, I would never do this, and I would take the money and I would stockpile it, not invest it. But if you have a lot of debt, what are you investing in? Most people would be like, okay, I got to pay off this creditor and I got to get rid of this, that, and the next before you even talk about investments. You know, he talked about getting it out of your system. Sometimes, yes, you want to get it out of your system, but I'm always of the mindset of, what if this money doesn't come back around again? So I have to be very strategic about what I'm doing. I remember getting a really big paycheck on YouTube, and I remember sitting down and I was like, okay, God, how am I going to flex with this? What do I have to do? Okay, I have some debt I have to pay off. Let me take care of that. Okay, I have some trademarking that I need to take care of. I'm going to take care of that. It was like, everything was like, what do I need to do to financially set up with my business? You know, so I took care of those things. And then because I have this, and it's not a good thing, a scarcity mindset, I'm like, oh, I don't want to have too much fun on this money. So what little thing can I do to make myself happy? And I'm not advocating for you to live like me. Don't do that. Sorry if you hear anything. They're doing some construction outside my home. But you don't have to live like me. Just be very mindful about how you move, because this is not a regular job. So the money comes, the money goes. But I thought he gave a lot of pearls of wisdom. Yes, some of you will have to kind of get it out your system, hustle hard, get some more money, and hopefully you learn the lesson. The reality is a lot of people don't. They don't learn the lesson. There is, or was, a content, I shouldn't say was, he's not dead, but there's a content creator by the name of Jason Nash. He was really big on Vine. I know a lot of you are like, Vine, what the hell is that? Right? But Vine used to be so popular. Like, a lot of people really popped from Vine. What's that girl's name? She went on to go to Hollywood as well. Liza, oh God, what's her name? Oh, y'all know who I mean. I'll put it on the screen. She was like a Vine superstar, and then she came to YouTube and she just killed it. What the hell is... Okay, now I have to... Hold on. Because it's going to kill me. It's going to kill me if I don't remember. Liza Koshy. Liza Koshy. Yeah, no, she was big on Vine, and then she did really well on YouTube. But anyway, this guy, Jason Nash, was big on Vine and making thousands of dollars. And then Vine just went away like that. And then everything was upended. He lost it all. And now people make fun of him because he's constantly asking for donations on his live streams. Let me see if I can find that video where he's being interviewed about, like, let's see, where did I put that? Here we go. He's confronted for begging on TikTok live. So, and saying that he can't take like a regular job. And that's why I kind of like what Anton said, which is like, it's not beneath him to go back to corporate America. It's not beneath him to go and do an overnight shift. It's not beneath him to go and do, DoorDash and that sort of thing, because none of this should be beneath you, unless eating and surviving and paying your bills are beneath you. None of it should be beneath you. So let's just take a listen to what Jason Nash has to say when confronted.
Right. Like, do you ever think about going
to DoorDash?
Or to like did you ever think about going back to like any other job, or was like,
I can't do anything else,
or just like, electrician, obviously you do lives with him. I don't know, I just never thought it's entertainment or nothing. I don't care what it is. Like,
what would you suggest I do?
It's just that.
Let me get a job at Lululemon.
I'm genuinely asking, because anytime.
Why don't I get a real job?
No.
that your question?
No. You know what?
Not to be offensive or anything, but why don't you give up?
No, that's not.
don't you give up?
That's really not. I'm genuinely asking because there's the comments I see. I know why you do it.
Yeah.
But like, say that it's okay. You know what? Just label it like that. Why don't you get a real job?
I don't have any skills.
Okay. See people.
I don't.
See, that's why.
Someone said that the other day. Why don't you get into real estate? I'm like,
I hate it.
I don't have a real estate license.
Bo Graney is his name?
Do you have any interests outside of entertainment?
No.
I mean, look, I get it. You know, some people just love entertainment. I love it too. But again, how much do you love eating and surviving and taking care of yourself? That's the question. And there are some people who do have those thoughts that certain jobs are just beneath them. They're not going to go and work fast food. They're not going to go do retail. They're not going to do whatever. And I think it's kind of crazy. So they prefer to stay online and just ask people all day to give their money. And the people who they're asking, many of those people work retail. Many of those people work fast food. Many of those people work regular 9-to-5s in sort of in call centers and corporations and that sort of thing. And that's who you're asking. So you don't value what it is that they do, but you value the money that they earn from what it is that they do. And he said he doesn't have any other skills. To me, and this is another conversation, I feel like people who are making that kind of money should really be thinking about, how can I upgrade my skills while I'm in it? You know, I'm hot like fish grease right now. What do I do to make more money, not just make more money, but make myself more marketable, because I don't know when the bottom is going to fall out. I don't know when this is all going to end. Everybody's career doesn't like take off the way Liza Koshy's did, where it's like from Vine to YouTube, making tons of money and then going into Hollywood. That's a great trajectory, but it doesn't happen often. And you don't see Liza Koshy on movie after movie after movie either. You know, the entertainment industry is very fickle. I think like a lot of people just kind of, this is like the closest thing they can get to entertainment, some of them being in social media, and they just don't take care to realize that it could all be over tomorrow. And so they just go broke.
I get on here complaining that how y'all have to go back working a 9-to-5 because you started hauling and spending money like your ass is Dwayne Wade or some shit. Y'all start getting paid from these social medias, and then it's like everything just goes out the window and you just start feeling like you above everything as far as finances. Why, if you starting to get a $4,000 check, you think, oh, let me go get me a high rise in an expensive ass city that you probably paying close to that $4,000 check that you're getting or more, trying to keep up with the Joneses? I really don't understand that. Help me understand that. This girl just got on here talking about how she was making $60,000 from TikTok. I think that's a lot of damn money for each month. How do you blow that much money? And now you're talking about now you got to go back working a 9-to-5. Are y'all just dumb? Are y'all dumb? How hard is it to stay down until you can stack up some extra money? Like, and nobody's saying not to go, you know, get you a new car, say if you don't got no car. Or go get you a used car because your car that you got is not properly working. Nobody's saying not to do those things or to go and put yourself in a better living situation. But it's like y'all get this extra little bit of money and y'all think y'all just overly rich now. Like, and then when shit starts slowing down, y'all looking like, who the f*** done did it? You did it. You did it. I say all that to say, y'all get on here and be fumbling hella bags. Hella bags. And it be pissing me off because certain opportunities was given to the right people. Ain't fumbling that. They not. But y'all, especially in this economy, I don't know what the hell y'all be thinking.
I did another video last year where I talked about like people flexing online, you know, with Instagram, and they're basically renting a lot of their lifestyle. So many of them will go into Airbnbs and front like it's their home. You know, it's one thing if you're using it as a set, because it's like, I know you have different types of podcasts, and so people don't want folks in their home. I certainly understand that. I would do the same thing too, to be honest with you. I'd be like, nah, if I want to interview somebody and it's not somebody who I know personally, I'm going to have to take you somewhere else. So yes, of course, go to an Airbnb, but they're not positioning it like that. They are positioning it like, this is where I live, this is where I stay, and or in a mansion, spending like thousands of dollars to rent out a mansion to do content. And the people at home are watching this thinking, wow, I wish my lifestyle were like that. No, you don't, because that's not even a real lifestyle for them. A lot of them are renting everything from their cars. Some of them, when they go places, they can't even just go in regular Ubers because that's embarrassing for somebody with a big name to show up in like a regular Uber. So they're getting like, what is it called? Uber XL or Uber Black or whatever, so that they're in a higher class car getting dropped off to a venue. So it's just insane. Another thing that people have to understand is the revenue versus the reality. And I highlighted this earlier on when I talked about like the AdSense revenue, right? And the cut. TikTok is a little bit more opaque. So, and that's not my expertise over at TikTok. I don't know much about them other than I see a lot of content creators who are talking about making buku dollars and then just all of a sudden like making just like pennies on the dollar, not making a lot of money. I think that their profit sharing is a little bit, well, way more opaque than YouTube is. YouTube is like really at the forefront to me when it comes to like telling you what you get and what the split is. But you have to consider that you're having to split your money with the platform. You are a 1099 contractor, really. So with your 1099 taxes, your taxes aren't coming out. So you're responsible 100% for paying your taxes, federal and state. If you don't want to deal with your taxes and all that stuff, then you have an accounting firm. And so they have to get their monthly cut. I've been there. If you have employees working for you, then you have to make sure that you're paying their taxes as well. You have to pay them. Depending on the size of your business, you might have benefits, that sort of thing. It's a cost to it. I'm a small business owner. I get taxed so heavily sometimes. I'm like, this makes no sense. I should have just stayed a sole proprietor. It's so many taxes, really and truly. It's so many taxes you have to account for. And the sponsorship structure, sometimes people think, well, I don't have to rely so heavily on AdSense. I'll just deal with the sponsorship. But sponsors, they come and they go. They may do one-off brand deals with you. They might do a multiple and then they're gone. So you cannot rely on that either. If you are one of those who are fortunate, to have them back to back, wonderful. And sometimes the sponsorships, at least let me speak for myself. Sometimes you have sponsors that will pay you a lot of money, but it's not aligned with like what it is that you do. And then you risk isolating your audience if you take that brand deal. And some people, because they're so hard up for money, they will do that because it's like, I just need the money. I just need the money. And then they isolate their audience. Like, why would you do that brand deal? Or I'm not feeling that sort of thing. Oh, that's a story for another day.
Controversial opinion, but I think that most influencers are going to end up going broke. And I'm going to explain to you why I know this. I'm saying most, not all. Just keep that in mind. It's pretty comparable to being an athlete, a famous athlete. Just keep that in mind while I'm speaking. Because we have real stats from athletes. We don't have as many stats from influencers. I went to an event 7 years ago, and this lives just rent-free in my mind. It was hosted by a popular Instagrammer called The Fat Jewish. And if you don't know who that is, then I think it just kind of further proves the point. And at this event, he explained that what happens to famous people is one of two things. Either your platform is fleeting, so think like eventually in sports, like you retire or you might get an injury, but like think of for influencers like Vine, that what happened to Vine, or TikTok potentially getting banned in the US. The other thing is that you might be fleeting. Hey, you might get canceled. You might not want to do this forever. You might retire. Like you might not want to make YouTube videos for the next 30 years. So one of those two things can happen to you or will happen to you, which brings me into my second point. How many influencers do you know or athletes do you know that have really stayed relevant long term? It's a very small proportion of them, right? If you think of someone like in athletics that's still famous, they're probably doing something to keep themselves relevant. Like if we think of Shaq went and did like 1 billion different things to stay relevant. But that's not every athlete that you can think of. That's not every person that's ever been on a sports team. It's a very small number. And that's why I say I think most influencers will go broke. It ties into my third point. What did Shaq do differently that kept him relevant versus any other athlete? And how you as an influencer can do something different. The Fat Jewish at this event spoke about how it was so important to build other streams of income because he knew he wouldn't stay relevant forever. Whether it was because of the platform shutting down or him just not wanting to do it, he built all these different income streams, which is something that Shaq did as well. Shaq owns like a bunch of restaurants and does all kinds of different things to keep that income coming. When you get a lot of money coming towards you, whether it's working your 9 to 5, whether it's being a famous athlete or an influencer, it's very common that something occurs called lifestyle creep. That's where you start getting the G classes, the mansions, you upgrade your car, you upgrade your apartment, you upgrade your wardrobe, you upgrade all these different things. No matter what the scale is, you're upgrading. But when you upgrade like that, you're setting a certain standard for yourself, which means that you're either change your desk to continue working your 9 to 5, or that like 67%, I think it is, of NBA players that retire within 2 years go broke because you weren't managing your money well along the way. You were expecting these certain calibers of lifestyle, but you weren't investing money to make sure that that stayed with you long term. And that's why if I was an athlete or if I was an influencer, if I was any of these things, I'd be making sure to have like a panel of people helping me manage my money if I didn't know what I was doing, and be investing like over 80% of my income, because I know in my head that this is fleeting. That's why I think most people will end up going broke, because they're not doing that.
It's difficult to invest 80% of your income if you are a full-time content creator and this is your income. That's very difficult because you still have to pay for rent, you still have to pay bills, you still have recurring bills, you still have to feed yourself. If you have a family, you have children, you have a spouse, you have medical issues, you have medical bills, whatever, all that stuff you have to take into account. And then, like I said, once you get that money from YouTube, and I'm going to keep harping on YouTube because this is my platform, right? You have to pay taxes on that. So that's very difficult. I mean, sound advice sounds great, but you have to also look at what's practical. And she said something that was just so poignant. I remember being on this platform like super early, like when I had like 2,000 subscribers. And I used to look at so many other content creators whom I love. Some of them have passed away. Some of them have died. And I remember just looking in there, I had like 150, 180,000 subscribers, 200,000 subscribers. And I never thought that I would even pass someone like that, but I look at them and they're either passed away or they just quit YouTube altogether. And if they come back like years, they didn't say, oh, why I quit. They were like, it was just too much. It was just this, that, and the next. I went broke. It was just a lot of different things. Sometimes people they age out of it. And when I say age, I don't want to make it seem like you cannot be on this platform and be a certain age and earn and do well, because you can. You can be in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s doing this and earn a good living. You can. So please don't think that that's what I'm saying. So if you're somebody who's 70, 80, even if you're 90 years old and you want to be on this platform, you can explode. You can blow. So I'm telling you. But I think when I say age out of it, mentally people are like, I don't want to be in this anymore. I don't want to do this rat race. I saw on TikTok the other day, or Instagram, I can't remember which, there was this guy who, oh man, I wish I'd kept it. And I just cracked up laughing. I was like, that is so relatable, because I think as content creators, we all know how difficult it is to sit here and do so much work and then nobody really watches, But some people just get tired of it. They don't want to be on YouTube forever. I haven't decided what I want to do. I know what I want to do long term, but as far as YouTube, I'm still enjoying it. And so as long as I'm enjoying it, I'll continue doing it. And if I find something else to focus on, I'll do that. But, I think what she said was important. Using Shaq as a reference point was really brilliant, because he really has shown how wonderful he is at diversifying his income and doing different things. We've seen Shaq on commercials, in movies, doing voiceover work, he does it all, he has restaurants. And I love that, because a lot of athletes, they fizzle out. You know them because you're like, oh, they were a legend. But then you're like, where are they? What are they doing? So he learned early. And to Anton's point, he said something like, sometimes you have to get it out of your system. Shaquille O'Neal famously tells a story about how he had to get out of his system, and he had either was an accountant or a manager or some guy who pulled him aside and showed him like a roster of so many athletes who'd come in the game and made so much money, and then they were all broke. And he's like, do you want to basically join their ranks, or you want to do something differently? And he said he was so happy that he listened to him, because that's what really changed his mindset and set him up for the financial greatness that he has right now. So I just want to talk about the real takeaway here. Let's talk about the takeaway. Number one, and I will say this till the day I die, and hopefully I don't die no time soon. But for those of you who are watching content creators and you feel a level of insecurity because you say they have it made in the shade, like they have a nice home, nice clothes, nice this, nice that, and I don't have that, please stop. Everyone is not leveraged. Everyone is not like broke. That's let me start with that. They're not. But you do have a good number of them who they're not doing well financially. They're just presenting this image that they are, quickly upgrading their lifestyle. And then, subscribers don't mean anything. And what I mean is when it comes to finances, those are vanity metrics. When you get to say, I have 1 million followers, 1 million subscribers, that sort of thing. But when advertisers are placing ads, they want to know what your view time looks like. Are people watching? What does your engagement look like? Are people highly engaged with this person? Do they move when the content creator says something, when they say, check out the sponsor, this, that, and the next, are they acting on it? Those things are very valuable. So please don't compare yourself to those people who are on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or anything like that, because you don't know people's journey. And I don't want to make it seem like every single person, again, is broke, or every single person is not managing their money well, or every single person is faking, because there are people who genuinely do have it like that and they're good with their money. So, just don't compare yourself. And then also, revenue does not equal wealth. If I can, let me use myself as an example. There are times when I have to step away because I want to spend time with my family. I want to spend time with my friends. I want to be by myself. And I love YouTube and I love my platform, but there are times I'm just like, I need a break. And I always say to you guys, no one gives you permission to take a break on YouTube. You have to say, I'm taking vacation. I'm going to go do what I want to do, go travel, spend time with my family, do whatever. That's on me. If I do that, my earnings take a dip. My views take a dip. Now, I've been fortunate that I have several hundred videos that they even watch my old stuff, which always blows my mind because it wasn't as refined as it is now, but they still watch my old stuff. And I'm very appreciative of that. But if I went away for 2-3 months, I probably would be demonetized. I'd lose my monetization because I wouldn't have enough views, right? And when you are truly wealthy, you don't have to be an active participant in your wealth. This is how I look at it. You have things that are passively making you money. If I have to constantly stand in the front of my camera or sit in the front of my camera and churn, then that is not wealth to me. You can view it differently. I'm just saying for me, if I have to constantly work, then it's not real wealth to me. Wealth is I want to go on vacation, my family for like 5 months, 6 months, a year, and the money's still coming in. That to me is wealth. So revenue is cool, but wealth is better. And then also, when you're watching these reels and stuff, please, and it goes right back to what I said, don't compare yourself, but please, I have to say it again because it warrants me repeating it. Please do not look at your spouse, your house, your kids, your bank account and say it's inadequate. My clothes aren't good enough. A lot of these content creators, I know it because I see it. I watch. They buy stuff. They leave the tags on. They showcase it. It's kind of smart, to be honest, but they showcase it and then they're like, back to the store. And you don't see them taking it back to the store. You just go, influencer ABC has this. They got a lot of, commentary and a lot of comments and reactions from people. They loved it. So I'm going to go and buy that. And then you go and you spend a bunch of money on things that really, they're not worth it. They're worth what you're willing to, they are worth what you are willing to pay for it. I always, you remember that time when Trump had imposed those tariffs on China and the Chinese manufacturers were going like ballistic and they were like, oh, all these bags are just spending $10,000-$20,000 for, we make that for like $100. If that wasn't a wake-up call for some of you to say, why am I spending all this money on this? You got to kind of step into your cheap era. your frugal era. Let me say that, because cheap, I don't want you to buy trash, but you know, step into your frugal era, you know, and stop chasing clout, because clout don't pay the bills. Anyway, I hope that you all enjoyed this episode. Give this video a big thumbs up. Turn on your notification bell. A lot of you watch, but you know, you say, I didn't know you dropped a video. Well, you have to turn on your notification bell so that it alerts you when I drop a video. And drop your comments down below. I would love to hear from you all, particularly those who are influencers who may have given it a shot and then went back to, you know, your normal job. There's, again, nothing wrong with that. Please don't, but this is the final thing I'm going to say, right? There are some of you who, when you're at the top of the mountain, love to talk badly about people who are still trying to come up. You talk trash about where they work, how they dress, what they drive, all that stuff. You have to be very careful with that little tongue. I always tell you guys, because you might have to be in that same position in a year or two. You just don't know. And then you get upset when people say things about like your lifestyle being downgraded and that sort of. Don't do that to people. At the end of the day, the goal is to pay your taxes, earn your money, take care of yourself, take care of your family. Just get out of here in one piece. Okay? So don't demean anybody. Don't look down on them, because you don't know if you might have to go right back to doing that very thing that you're criticizing. So again, drop your comments down below. Thank you so much to Christopher. You know who you are. Really appreciate you for always tuning in to my content, my audio podcast. I really appreciate you. Big shout out to all of my channel members. Of course, Garnett Brown. Thank you so much, Garnett, for your support. One of my most supportive members. I really appreciate you. I love you. So I will see you guys in the next episode. Toodles. Oh, shameless plug, because I'm also a writer. If you're trying to start YouTube, grow your channel, or survive being a content creator without losing your mind, I've got a blog that breaks all of that down. It's about strategy, yes, but it's also about that stuff that content creators don't really like talking about. Burnout, inconsistency, algorithm anxiety, bad advice, and why half of the growth hacks that you see online are nonsense. Look, I'm not promising overnight success or secret tricks, because I wasn't an overnight success and I didn't have any secret tricks. But what my blog does offer is practical, honest advice from a content creator who's actually doing this and has made a ton of mistakes along the way, so you don't have to. If you're building a channel, starting a new one, or questioning all of your life choices because of the analytics, then I've got you. And this blog's for you. So head to ThisBahamianGyal.com. The link will be on the screen and tagged down below. Read responsibly.